Hello, welcome to Little Literati. I'm Jess, and I have a confession to make. I had a whole bunch of plans at the beginning of this month of books I was going to read this summer, and I did not read any of them. In fact, I didn't read any books at all this month. I instead spent the entire month reading Harry Potter fan fiction on my phone. And it gets worse. I was specifically reading Hermione fanfiction, which, if you've never heard of that, is fanfiction that revolves around the idea of Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger as a couple. I know, I'm so sorry. Now, when I was a kid reading the books, I just knew that Hermione was going to end up with Ron. And I just knew that Harry was going to end up with Ginny. And lo and behold, the final book came out, and I was right, and it was awesome. But as an adult, I have been thinking about it, and I was like, really, Hermione and Ron do not make sense as a couple long term. Sure, in the short term, they can they're friends, they are on the good side, yada, yada, yada. But really, in the long term, they're not equal intellectually, and they're not going to be happy because he thinks she's bossy and kind of a know-it-all, and she kind of is, and is going to not respect him because, let's face it, he's kind of a moron. So the two of them are not going to be happy in the long run. And I was telling my husband this, and I said, it's like Hermione, or it's like Belle ending up with Gaston. And he said, no, babe. He says, it's like Belle ending up with LeFou. I said, that's a little harsh, but still, my point is, really, if you want to think about it and argue about it, Draco kind of does make sense for her on an equal basis. Because once he gets over the war and the blood superiority concept that he's got going on, he's the only one that we've seen in the books or the movies to match her intellectually. He is witty, he's a smart aleck, yes, but he at least has the quickness of thought to keep up with her and keep her on her toes. And really, they could be kind of they could pull a Mr. Darcy, Elizabeth Bennet scenario where they start out hating each other, and by the end, they decide that the other person isn't really all that bad after all, and that they could be happy together. So I know, it's a little bit cheesy, but even the author said that she had originally thought about putting them together, and she changed her mind. And then lately she's come out with the idea that really she's come to the same conclusion I have, that Hermione and Ron are not really meant to be together forever. So anyway, bear that in mind. Argue with me in the comments if you feel so inclined. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. But another funny coincidence about this, I was talking to my sister and texting her, and I finally got her to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show. And my favorite character on that show is Spike, hands down. He's funny, he's snarky, he's cute. Let's face it, he's cute. And I was texting her and I said, yes, isn't he fantastic? She's like, oh, I know, he's so much fun. He's so much better than Angel. And if you want to argue with that in the comments below, definitely argue with me, because I totally agree that Spike is way better than Angel. I can have a whole discussion about this. Anyway, and I told her, I said, it just occurred to me that between Spike and Draco, apparently lately, I have been attracted to fictional, tall, blonde, platinum blonde, British bad boys, which is almost totally opposite my actual taste in real men. Like, my husband is not that tall, he's dark, and he's the nicest guy I know. And it's just funny that apparently in fiction, I'm really drawn to this one type, when in real life, totally not what I am really interested in, but that's the power of fantasy and books. So, to get down to it, I was really, really bad this month. And it occurred to me at the end of this month that I could have blamed it all on the fact that it's Harry Potter's birthday. But that didn't occur to me until the end of the month, so I can't really use that excuse. My kids, on the other hand, were fantastic this summer. And so, instead of talking about the books I read, because there weren't any, we will talk about the stuff that they got for their library prizes that I talked about a video or two ago. So, altogether, we went to 4 different library districts that are really, really close by our house, like within a mile radius of our house. 4 districts, not just libraries, but districts within a mile radius of our house. And one of the libraries gave each of my kids 3 books, which was awesome. So altogether, they got 6 books each. So Evangeline got this How to Be a Space Explorer book, which she loves space. She loves learning about it and talking about and telling everybody about the various things that she learns about galaxies and the nebula and all kinds of fun goodies. And so she was really excited to get that. She picked out this Unicorn Crossing book, which is actually a comic book. It says book 5 by the author, but she seemed to enjoy it fine without having read any of the other ones. So it seems like this really cute, kind of Calvin and Hobbes-esque thing, except a little girl and her unicorn instead of a boy and his pet tiger. So she had a lot of fun reading this one so far. She also picked out this book, The Girl from the Other Side, which is actually a manga. So you start from the back and you read this story going forward like this. And this is book 1, and I think I checked online, I think there are at least 2 others that have come out or are just barely coming out here in the very near future. And so she has started reading this one as well, and so far she seems to really enjoy it. So if she continues really liking it, we'll see if we can maybe look into getting her the other ones. This was the first book she picked, which was Trixie the Halloween Fairy. And after she picked this, I said, okay, this is your last Rainbow Fairy book that you get to personally get from here on out, because these are too easy for her now. And I know she's only 6, but these are honestly a little formulaic. And so she can read through one of these in like a half hour to 45 minutes. And so I told her, you need to, from now on, start picking out books that hold a little more challenge for you. So last hurrah, is this special edition Trixie Fairy book. She also got Dragon Masters number 3, because this was the only one they had. They didn't have the first 2, Secret of the Water Dragon. However, I think she had read book number maybe 7 out of the library several months ago. So she might know who some of these characters are, but she hasn't actually read this one yet. So I don't know. I haven't asked her if she knows who some of these people are. But she was very excited about it. She likes dragons. And then this was her last book, The Mysterious Howling, which is book 1 of The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. And I had checked this out of the library and then never got around to reading it. But it seemed really, really fun about these kids who sort of kind of reminded me, the premise sounded like Victorian version of Series of Unfortunate Events, sort of, because they're orphans and there's 3 of them and they are raised by this governess, and there's maybe they're raised by wolves, I guess. So kind of feral children type idea. So those are the ones that she picked. Elizabeth got a Fly Guy book. It was one that she loved. She loves Fly Guy. My brother-in-law gave her one for her birthday a year or so ago, and she really, really likes it. And I told her, again, this is probably the last Fly Guy book you get to pick out, because you can read better than this too. So you can read one of these in like 5 minutes. You need to maybe expand your boundaries just a little bit. She also got this Fancy Nancy book. We have never had a Fancy Nancy book before, and this one seemed like a good start because it has 2 stories in it. So this one takes her, 15 minutes to read through. So it's, I guess, a little step up, but even she can read chapter books now, so whatever. And so it's The Late, Late, Late Night and The Sensational Babysitter. So the 2-in-1 she got to pick out. And she got Grimtastic Girls number 5, Sleeping Beauty Dreams Big. She got number 6 last year, so I guess she's working her way down instead of up. She is still kind of allowed to check out and to get Rainbow Fairy books for maybe another few months, but even she can read through these pretty quickly. So this is one of the Storybook Fairies, number 3, Rosalie the Rapunzel Fairy, that she got to pick. She also wanted this Junie B. Jones book, The Toothless Wonder, which is funny because her sister keeps trying to lose teeth, but she doesn't even have a loose one yet. But I think she was excited about this one because she gets to start school next month and gets to be in kindergarten. And so this is, Junie B. Jones in 1st grade, not in kindergarten, but even so, Elizabeth is able to read these books and easily and read her adventures and kind of relate to them now that she's going into school. And her last book, she hasn't read this one yet, but she saw it and she loved it and wanted to get it because it's sparkly and it's about fairies. It's The Night Fairy, and Elizabeth loves fairies lately, and all things girly, princessy and unicorn and pink. And so this one had really, really pretty illustrations inside, and the cover looked really fun and just kind of peaceful and beautiful and gorgeous all around. And so the fact that it was sparkly was what first drew her eye, but she was very insistent that she wanted to get this book. Which is probably fine because she's probably able to read this and she's able to read the other chapter books. Estella, the baby, also got to pick out 6 books. And the first one she picked out was Are You My Mommy? And this one is fun. I think, again, she liked it because of the glitter cover. But this one's really cute because this bunny is looking for its mommy and it asks all these other animals, are you my mommy? No, my baby is a chick. And so the cutout from the page before becomes the baby animal on the next page. So we've got a baby piglet. And we've got a baby horsey. And finally, the mommy bunny finds the baby. So she loves this book. And she found this book, Five Little Monkeys, and she loves monkeys. She calls them kikis. And so the fact that this had monkeys on it made it so that nothing else even came close. Nothing was even flickering on her radar. She wanted the monkey book. So this is a retelling of the old silly song, Five Little Monkeys Jumping on the Bed. So they sing song at the very end. The mom's like, yay, thank goodness the kids are all in bed, and so she gets to go jump on her bed. Not setting a very good example for the kids, but Estella thinks it's hilarious. These two were 2 of the 3 that she got to pick out at the one library. And so she got Monsters Dance. And this one has a lot of fun onomatopoeia and action words that the kids get, that she gets to participate with, and all in big words and letters. And she's not scared of monsters. I was thinking, these monsters are not scary. And all the girls were like, why are monsters scary? Like, wow, you grew up in a different era than I did. And then Splish Splash Splosh, which is a counting book about duckies getting into a tub. And Estella loves bathtubs and bath time and splashing and duckies. So this seemed like a really good book for her. And at the end, also get big onomatopoeia splish splash splosh words. So that one is really exciting for her. And then that same library, she picked out the monster at the end of this book. We already had the Golden Book version of this, but she saw this and she recognized it from the Golden Book version we have here at the house. And so she immediately grabbed it and decided she wanted the monster book. And I looked through and it actually has almost every page. It's only missing 1. And it's one of these, you turned the page, and that was all that page was. And so they just put it at the very top of this one. But that's the only page that's missing. And then instead of on the first page, what did that say? It says on the cover. What did that say? Because they don't have the title page inside since it's a word book. So the monster at the end of this book, she brought it home and she matched them up next to each other on the couch and was flipping the page and seeing how they were the same with every single page in the book. And I grew up reading the monster at the end of this book when I was that small, and I loved it, and I still love it, and it's one of my favorite kid stories to read out loud to my kids because it's very interactive, and then Grover gets very traumatized the farther you get through the book, and the kids just love being naughty and turning the page, even though Grover says don't turn the page, and she already loves Grover yelling at her that she's not turning the page and telling her she's very strong because she can turn the brick wall. So she loved this book. And then the last book she picked out from the last library was this Itsy Bitsy Board Tech Time by Mickey Mouse. I wasn't super thrilled that she picked this out because this is one of those like dollar ones that you can get from the dollar spot at Target. Super kind of cheap cardboard book version, but it has Mickey Mouse on it, and so she had to have it. And actually, we were running other errands later that same day after we went and picked out her book, and she was very upset every time I left this in the car so that it wouldn't get lost. I was like, well, we need to go do this other thing, and we'll be right back. It's safe. It's in the car. And she would start crying because she wanted to kiss her book and hold her book and not let it leave her sight. So she's happy. I guess that's all that matters, right? So before they got the books, The library, various libraries had different programs. So one of the library districts had, on the very first of the summer reading program, they gave each of the kids a bandana. And then each week, if they filled in their goal for the week, they got to go get a pin. And so they kind of did a Western steampunk type theme. It's kind of a weird... They didn't seem to mesh well, but whatever. So they had like a little cowboy boot and a little cowboy mustache and a gear, and then on the last week they got a library's pin with gold gilt on it. So that was kind of a fun thing for them to every week look forward to a little mini prize before they were able to get their books. Another library gave each of the kids a t-shirt in addition to a book. So they had 4 colors and 4 sayings, and each of the kids wanted this one that said, "What would Dumbledore do?" And it's funny because they both have the same size shirt, because that was the smallest they had, which is a medium, which is way too big for both of my kids, but that's what they wanted. They wanted the purple Dumbledore shirt. And we got in the car and Elizabeth said, "Mommy, who's Dumbledore?" And I said, "Why did you get the Dumbledore shirt if you don't know who Dumbledore is?" I said, "Speaking of Dumbledore, let me tell you about this fan fiction I've been reading." Ha ha ha. Not really, but they liked these shirts, so I said, "Whatever, you can get what you want." But it was really great because that same library also gave a prize to the parents if you read in the summer. So I actually got a prize for once, and it was these bags. And so I got the one that said, "I read past my bedtime," because I totally do. I read till like 2:30 in the morning almost every night. And so this has already become my purse. And it's actually really well made. It's got a hard reinforced bottom, a little cup holder, a pocket in the front that I always throw my phone into, and then a big old zipper pouch to put all kinds of fun things into. So I've been carrying this around already because it's fantastic, and I was really glad that I actually got to have a prize this summer for reading that I did with my kids. So those were the summer prizes that we did this year, and it was a lot of fun, especially getting all of the fun goodies and seeing what each library did differently and what kind of was a common theme among them all. And so I'm really looking forward to see what we can do next year. And so thank you for your patience in this very long video and my kind of rambling there at the beginning. And I will do better next month with my reading, I hope, because it's already kind of, I've noticed that I'm already kind of falling into a slump. So I'm hoping that I can turn off my phone and actually want to pick up books next month, but I'll talk about that in the next video. So thank you, and we will see you next video.